So recently on my Japan trip, I decided to revisit a lot of places, in Kyoto especially, since I was there for basically around 5 months this year. But during my revisit of those places, I realized that there was a lot that I did not see the first time around. Firstly, I think a good idea is to actually check for nighttime events of the places that you visited, because most likely, especially in Kyoto, the temples and the castles, whatever you're going to, they most likely have a nighttime event eventually, or it's usually seasonal. But there were two this time around that I managed to attend. The first one called Light Cycles in Kyoto Botanical Gardens. This was for the 100th anniversary of the botanical gardens there. It's known as one of the most prominent and oldest botanical gardens in Japan. At this point, I've been there 4 times. The first time was nice. It was just a little visit in the afternoon. The second time around was a nighttime event for a sakura event. It was just like during spring and you can see some lit up sakuras. That was very nice. And then the third time was again during this trip, actually with a friend, just catching up, and we were sitting at a park just eating some food while I think there was like a school trip going on, a lot of school trips, because there were a whole bunch of like little kids playing tag and jumping around and having fun. And it was good to feel that energy again and remember like how I was like when I was a kid too. I'm just being so carefree and playing tag all the time. Things have definitely changed since then. But either way, I'm still enjoying myself very much. And the botanical gardens became one of my favorite places after this latest event that I attended, which is called Light Cycles. And it's a nighttime event where you don't really go to many places in the botanical gardens itself. You kind of just go straight to where the dome is, where the center is. And from there, they basically retrofit this whole area to include a bunch of different types of light shows. It's really hard to describe, but I am showing B-roll right now and it just looks amazing. There's like haze, fog, there's lasers everywhere, and it makes you feel it gives you a feeling that is so unique in so many ways. And I've been to sort of like one of those nighttime events as well in a different location. I think it was in Tokyo, like sort of like a little lantern event where a lot of things are just very dark and they just shine light on the trees and stuff. And I was like, this is nice, but it's just okay. But this is completely different. Like, I think the stuff that I attended in the past gave light shows or just the whole like nighttime events a bad name. This is what a light show is supposed to be, in my opinion. And it just feels so well blended into the nature. It doesn't feel like some weird artificial thing. It feels like somehow they make lasers fit with nature and it just works and it feels perfect and it feels good. Like, this is undoubtedly one of my favorite things I've ever seen in Kyoto, in Japan in general. And I would have gone like multiple times if I had the chance. I just didn't have it in my schedule. Unfortunately, I think they said that it ends in the middle of December. So if you so happen to be watching this video before that happens, definitely check it out. But I'm really hoping that eventually they have this same event because I really want to see it again. So I'll be on the lookout for it. And to me, this is sort of like a little bit of a pattern, right? Oftentimes when I revisit things, I find new things and I sort of make the place itself just becomes so much cooler, so much nicer. And it's like, wow, there's so much left to explore. And I feel like I remember a lot of my friends saying like, oh yeah, I've been there, I've traveled to Japan, I've traveled to wherever, like I've seen everything. They're like, oh yeah, 1 week in Tokyo, that's good enough. I'm like, I don't need to go there again or travel there ever again. And I'm like, now that I've experienced what I've experienced, I'm just like, that is probably one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard in my life, because there's just so much to a place that you really, even though I was there for that long, like the place itself is so big, there's so much to explore. And I just feel like that way of thinking, I could never feel like it's right for me, at least. Another nighttime event that I attended was at the Eikando Zenrinji Temple. That's my favorite temple in Japan. And it's actually way more popular than I expected it to be, because I think the first time I went, it was like, I don't know, I didn't see that many people, but the more I go, the more, at least during certain hours, it's like the more people I see. But this year when I visited while it was snowing, it was so beautiful. And then when I visited again during the nighttime event, it was another experience. It was completely different. And again, it was just, I don't know, they somehow make the same place just look so different and so beautiful. So I got to visit it with a friend and it was just a great experience. So I Guess basically the whole point of this video was number one, I wanted to show the B-roll of the light show or the light cycles place in Kyoto Botanical Gardens. That was probably the main purpose. But number two was to highlight a point, which is that places have way more to them than you expect, and that you can basically go to the same place during different times of the season, especially when you're in Japan, since each season is very prominent, very pronounced, and it will appear different and it would feel different. And that's really, really different compared to like in Southern California, where not too much changes during the seasons, at least where I live or close to where I live around Los Angeles. But that's all I have for this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you've ever been to like a place multiple times and you sort of notice different things each time you go, and you sort of see more of the value of that place and what it has to offer. Because it's definitely an experience that I've had a lot now in Japan.